Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
August 8, 2020, the end of the post office edition. And we start with that story as the Trump administration moves to literally destroy the U.S. Postal Service as the new Postmaster General, who is in a direct conflict of interest owning stock and direct competitors to the U.S. Postal Service, displaced 2 top executives overseeing day-to-day operations and got rid of another 33 staffers who will be either reassigned or resigned to pursue other opportunities. The reshuffling clearly is designed to destroy the U.S. Postal Service and relations between post office officials, lawmakers, and of course us, the constituents as customers of the post office. The Postal Service has banned employees from working overtime and making extra trips to deliver mail. The Trump administration is concerned that people getting mail will negatively impact their fraud about the coronavirus. So it's as Representative Gerald Connolly of the House subcommittee responsible for postal oversight said, it's a deliberate sabotage. The Trump administration apparently will go to no end to destroy the U.S. government. Next up, in a more somber note, Eric Kay, the former director of communications for the Los Angeles Angels, has been charged by the DEA with illegally supplying drugs to pitcher Tyler Skaggs, who died in a hotel room of an overdose of phenol and oxycodone last year. He died in his hotel room in Arlington, Texas, putting a black eye on directors of communications every year. Apparently, he was supplying drugs to one or more players. Of course, the question is, what, if anything, did the Angels know about this? The Angels, of course, said he was a rogue employee and he was doing this on his own. It was unacceptable behavior. Nevertheless, when you have a corporate officer or at least a director level engaged in blatantly illegal conduct, you might think others in the organization would know about it. Next up from the New York Times, ever heard of Lorenzo Milam? Well, I had not either. And when people say they want to change the world and then do it, he's one who did. He started non-commercial radio stations, community radio, really, with an eclectic mix of music and talk in the 60s and 70s. He devoted much of his life to building non-commercial radio stations, literally across the United States. He saw this as a way to get information, music, local arts to people across the country. And it's rare, really, that you can point to one person who fathered a movement, but it was Mr. Milam who helped foster this movement. Here in Houston, we have, of course, KPFT, which has been bombed off the air twice by right-wingers. So this is a very much needed media source that we have used for many years, literally across America. And finally, Jerry Falwell Jr. has resigned, or taken a leave of absence, rather, from running Liberty University. After years of lying, cheating, and stealing, supporting Donald Trump, denying that the coronavirus crisis existed, promoting racism, that was apparently not enough for the board, but a picture of him with a woman showing a pregnant belly and her underwear with him showing his fat belly and his underwear while having a cocktail was too much, and he's been asked to step down. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.